Mayor-Elect Zorhan Mamdani is facing a little bit of backlash due to one of his recent appointments of Mysonne Linen, who was convicted in the late 90s of armed robbery of taxi cab drivers. Now, he had always maintained his innocence. He refused a plea deal and unfortunately was found guilty. Sounds like he did 7 years in New York State Penitentiary. And so now he has been appointed to the mayor-elect's public safety and criminal justice transition team to help form public policy. And this is what the mayor-elect said when he was asked about it.
We put together a team of more than 400 New Yorkers who are on 17 different committees. And these are New Yorkers who bring with them both a fluency of the policies and politics of the city, the places that they've succeeded, the places that they've failed. And we will take all of their experiences and their analysis into account as we build a city for each and every person.
So as you saw there, he basically was like, I'm, dealing with people from all walks of life. They all have things that they can add to what we're trying to do here, for a lack of better words. But as I said, there's a lot of backlash. Now, this particular gentleman did not seem to like it. Check it out.
Zorhan Mamdani does it again, folks. Springs on a rapper. 7-year convicted felon, spent hard time in the state pen for But he's the new justice advisor in New York City. Going to be making it safer for all the thugs there that are operating with immunity in that city.
So as you saw there, he's going to have a criminal giving people immunity and things like that. And that's not what that transition team is about. It's, again, to help shape policy. Now, I agree with a lot of other people who will say, hey, who better to shape a public policy as far as the safety and criminal justice and things like that than somebody who has been behind bars? Because wouldn't they be an expert and know what's going on and maybe potentially how not to get there? Again, he maintains his innocence up until this day. But it should also say that he was signed with Def Jam. He was a rapper, and now he's an activist. Sounds like he has worked with Tamika Mallory's organization Until Freedom. He also has his own dealing with, young men and boys, I guess, to avoid going to prison and things like that. So it's not like he's just some dude off the street. He has a pretty good resume. But yeah, I agree. I don't really like my politicians or even pastors, perfect, because how can you relate to everyday people if I've never had any experiences like that? Well, then you shouldn't be speaking for people who have, right? Because again, him being on the inside of prison, that is, he could see all the foolishness and the bureaucracy and all that goes on that affects everybody in there, from the inmates to the guards. So he should be the one that say, hey, that ain't working, because I know firsthand that's not what's going to work, but we should try to do this, that, and the other, because at the end of the day, we know that even though there's people who are inmates in prison, a lot of times they have a really rough life, rougher than they should have, okay? I'm not talking about people who've done some heinous things, it's like whatever with them, but just people who are in there on maybe financial crimes or, I don't know, traffic stuff, because you can, get some prison time for those type of things, depending on what it is. But then they have to deal with a lot of stuff they shouldn't have to deal with. So yeah, I don't hate it. In fact, I love that he selected somebody that can have a first-hand accounting of what should and should not be as far as the criminal justice reform. So, I like what Zohran Mamdani is doing so far. I don't live in New York City, so I can't really speak for the people there. But in regards to that white guy that was, not liking what's going on, is like, well, Trump's a felon. And he has a lot of ties to New York. Trump is a New Yorker. I know he's in Florida now, but he's a New Yorker. And he's a felon. No worries about that. Anyway, y'all let me know what you think of that. And for more insightful commentary, please subscribe to this channel and my channel, The Demetra Kaye Show, here on YouTube. Peace.